I have type 2 diabetes, and much of my family does. Do you? How do you live with it? I take medication, but I also watch my diet, avoiding several things, unfortunately, that I love, like flour, potatoes, rice, not to mention the evil demon, sugar, white sugar. So I have to make compromises to keep my blood glucose in control. And when I have a craving for something sweet, like cake or ice cream, which is rare, I admit, I do use keto-friendly recipes. And I want to share one of those recipes with you today. This recipe was an eye-opener. When I first saw it, I was amazed. It's based on beans. Here we go. Hi, I'm John, 61, a recently retired teacher and a single dad. Today's recipe I got from another YouTuber. His channel's name is Glen and Friends, and I have altered it to lower the carb or sugar content even more. Honestly, not every keto recipe I find online is worth repeating. They can be really hit and miss. But this maple cake from Glen and Friends is a good one. I've made it 3 times in the last 2 years, and yesterday I recorded the process, and I want to share it with you now.
Here are the ingredients. I'll post the full recipe at the end. For the batter, you need white beans. I use cannellini. It's about 1.5 cans, 19 ounces. Maple syrup, pure vanilla extract, 4 eggs, some almond flour, baking powder, melted butter, and about a 1/4 teaspoon or a pinch of salt. For the icing, you need room temperature cream cheese. I used a full block. 3 tablespoons of softened butter, not melted. Again, pure vanilla. And then I used stevia. You can use alternative brands for an artificial sweetener, but it should be confectioner's style. And heat your oven to 375 in advance. Okay, once I preheat the oven, I cut parchment paper to line the bottom of my cake pan, no matter what style you use, and a little butter and a light dusting of flour to keep it from sticking on the sides. Then I prep my liquids, including the maple syrup. I use real maple syrup and the melted butter. And then I get the beans drained and rinsed and put them into my food processor. Run the food processor, and as you see, it will start out as pretty chunky. You need to start adding the liquids to get it to become like a batter. So I started by adding my melted butter. As I add the melted butter, you'll see that it starts to liquefy more, it moves around more in the bowl. And after the butter, I add the syrup. Let the batter start to smooth out, and that's when you come in with the eggs. 1 at a time, 4 of them. At some point toward the end of the blending process, you might want to stop and scrape the sides. Mine turned out fine. But then transfer from the food processor into a mixing bowl. Time to add the dry ingredients. This is the almond flour, baking powder, and salt. Whisk in the dry ingredients vigorously. You want to remove any lumps of flour. Then pour the batter into the parchment-lined and floured sides of the baking pan of your choice, and it's ready for the oven. I like to tap the pan on the countertop to remove bubbles and even it out. Then into the middle of a 375 Fahrenheit oven. I checked it at 20 minutes, it went to 30, and then it was done. While the cake was baking, I prepared the icing. I used a full block of cream cheese that had been softened overnight to room temperature. And make sure that you use confectioner's artificial sweetener. And I used a hand blender to make sure it was very, very smooth. I like to add the confectioner's sweetener, 1 heaping tablespoon at a time, blend, then add more, then blend again until it tastes the right amount of sweetness. I pretty much eyeball this. Once the cake has cooled completely, I like to flip it over so I have a smooth bottom, and that's when I add the icing. You don't want to add icing to a warm cake. It needs to be completely cooled to room temperature. And please note, I am no great baker, so I just do my best with the icing to make it look as pretty as possible. It's the flavor that counts. And one thing I've learned about this sort of sweet treat, even reduced carb, eat a good high protein meal, high fiber vegetables, do that first, and then have a small slice, and you'll be fine. This is a good summer or autumn treat. Yummy.
This cake is not a fluffy birthday cake. It doesn't have that kind of texture. It's denser, but not as dense as a pound cake. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's not as crumbly as a coffee cake. And it definitely is not carb-free, but it is dramatically reduced compared to a coffee cake or a pound cake or a boxed cake mix. It's very moist. It has a terrific crumb. I think this is a great diabetes-friendly alternative. Side note, the first 2 times that I made this recipe, I used a standard 8-inch cake pan. And this time, I used a spring-form pan, like Glen did on his channel, and I wouldn't do that again. The batter spreads out too much, making it a little too thin for my taste, so I prefer a thicker slice, and I think using a standard cake pan is probably better. So that's my version of a diabetes-friendly cake recipe. If you have diabetes, what are your favorite recipes when you crave something sweet like cake or ice cream or cookies? Please do comment and share, and if you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. Thanks for helping me grow my channel. And thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time. Have a great week.